The over-planner. This is the procrastinator who convinces themselves they're working, when really they're just sharpening pencils for the 100th time. They'll spend 3 hours color-coding a to-do list, another 2 setting up the perfect Notion dashboard, and then take the rest of the day researching which productivity app is scientifically proven to increase efficiency. By the time they're done planning, the actual task has either expired or been reassigned to someone who just did it. The over-planner doesn't avoid work, oh no. They just like to romance the idea of work so much that reality never quite gets invited to the party. The clean freak. This procrastinator has a sixth sense. The moment a deadline approaches, every speck of dust in their house suddenly becomes urgent. They'll scrub the sink, polish the doorknobs, and reorganize their sock drawer by color palette, all while telling themselves a clean space means a clean mind. By the time the room is sparkling like a hotel lobby, the task they were supposed to do is still sitting there, untouched. The clean freak doesn't escape work. They just turn into a part-time janitor the moment things get serious. The research rabbit. This procrastinator doesn't start the work, they study the work. They'll read 3 books, watch 5 TED Talks, and open 17 browser tabs titled Ultimate Beginner's Guide. Ask them about the task, and they can explain every theory behind it. But they haven't actually done a single step. It's not laziness, it's paralysis disguised as preparation. The research rabbit is always ready to start tomorrow, once they've just learned a little more. Problem is, tomorrow never shows up. The scroller. This procrastinator sits down to work, opens their laptop, and then thinks, I'll just check my phone real quick. One Instagram reel turns into 20, one TikTok becomes a 2-hour binge, and suddenly they've learned a new dance routine but haven't touched the assignment. Their thumb gets more exercise than their brain, and the only thing they've accomplished is updating their For You page. The scroller doesn't hate work. They just get lost in an infinite feed where time ceases to exist. The overwhelmed avoider. This procrastinator takes one look at the task and immediately decides it's too much. Doesn't matter if it's writing an essay or just replying to an email. In their head, it's Mount Everest. And once they label it impossible, their brain does what it does best. Absolutely nothing. Instead of starting, they quietly close the laptop, whisper, I'll do it tomorrow, and then repeat that ritual every day until the deadline is breathing down their neck. The irony? If they'd just started, they'd probably be done by now. But the overwhelmed avoider lives in a cycle where the more they delay, the scarier the task becomes, until avoiding it feels easier than climbing it. The excuse maker. This procrastinator is a master storyteller, but only when it comes to avoiding responsibility. Ask why they haven't started, and they'll have a full menu of excuses ready to serve. I'm too tired. The timing isn't right. The Wi-Fi's acting funny. Or the classic, Mercury's in retrograde. They'll justify doing nothing with the confidence of a lawyer in court. And the worst part, they actually believe their own excuses. To the excuse maker, the problem is never them. It's always some cosmic force, unlucky circumstance, or minor inconvenience that's keeping them from greatness. If excuses were currency, they'd be rich, but the task still untouched. The perfectionist. This procrastinator doesn't fear failure. They fear imperfection. They won't start until the conditions are perfect, the mood is perfect, and they're certain the end result will be flawless, which of course never actually happens. They'll rewrite the same sentence 20 times, reorganize their desk before every attempt, and convince themselves, I'll begin once I'm ready. But ready is just another word for never. The perfectionist would rather do nothing at all than risk producing something that's merely good. Ironically, in chasing perfection, they achieve the exact opposite. Absolutely nothing. The daydreamer. This procrastinator has a vivid imagination, a little too vivid. They'll spend hours picturing how amazing life will be once the task is done. The applause, the promotions, the Nobel Prize acceptance speech. They can see the finished result so clearly in their head that it almost feels real, which tricks them into thinking they don't need to start. But when fantasy runs out, reality's still sitting there, untouched. The daydreamer lives in a world of someday, where everything is possible, but nothing is ever actually finished. Their greatest skill? Making castles in the sky while the foundations down here are left to crumble.